Yeah, so I want to point out this stone. I didn't recognize it. It to me stood out. I didn't notice it before, and it might have been there. I just hadn't noticed it. But I want to point out that these stones like this is an odd formation too. If you look at that type of rock, and I don't know too much about it, but you look at that, it's chipped away, it's old, and you kind of find this kind of rock like this. To me, it's a very strange. It's a strange. Look at that rock. It's very old. It's ancient, and some rock guy is going to tell you quite a lot about this rock. And to me, I can say a little bit about it, but I'm not going to say too much about it. And I'm going to say something about stones appearing in odd places, just manifest, and manifest, and there happens quite often. I'm like, where I certainly wasn't there before. Here's a stone, but I certainly wasn't there before, and there it is. And small stones, large stones. That's a fairly large stone. And if a stone like that had been placed in a place where it wasn't, it's quite the feat. Someone, it's probably about 40 pounds rock. Someone carrying that in his pocket is not too normal, not too usual. And so this is thing about load entity, like a metaformic, containment plane. That's where they are. You can see that often, though. You'll see. I was going to say something about like a little fairy dart, and I know this is be controversial to determine that this is the case. But I would say fairy darts. And sometimes you'll see like a little trigger wire, a little trip wire, or a little trip stone, a little twig. You go click, and because it's exactly placed in a place where it kind of like knows an event's gonna happen, so it puts there. So when the event happens, it gets triggered. So that's a fairy dart. That's what I would call a fairy dart, because you counter this and you'll see it, and phenomenally, like think. Oh, I just tripped, oddly positioned stone or twig, and you triggered it. And then also the anomalous, reactant afterwards. So it's kind of like it's not a coincidence. You've seen it enough times. Most people probably wouldn't notice, but it's quite the thing. And I have a few videos on that too. I'll show. It is quite, it's pretty numerous. But it's anyway about that character I had run into. So he had demonstrated like a thing. He had a little throwing knife, and he threw it into a tree in a particular way. It wasn't too impressive, but it was more like he was saying something. And I ran into another character who did the same thing. So this is about 2 weeks separate. And so to me, that's pretty significant coincidence. That you see this guy, hey, what's he do? He did something, and someone else 2 weeks later did the same thing, with a distance of about 1,000 miles. So, you're looking at it like, hey, what's going on? Could be the entity, but here's another marking of that character. That little particularly placed walking stick, he had one placed elsewhere. But it's not something that whoever that is with that stick, you can tell that it's not something they do all the time. There'd be more sticks. I wouldn't have noticed there was one place here in such a prominently simple place, and one place there in such a prominently simple place. To me, that says he's new to the area. And that's the same character who I ran into. He had this walking stick of the same nature, walking around, and it's a signature of his character, the walking stick, his walking stick. So that he's encountered again, and I would think that there was might have seen him in a different form initially, quite years before he had introduced me otherwise. And I'm thinking that's probably likely. And there's a little place here where somebody is in occupancy, and I haven't introduced myself. I haven't come upon him yet, and he might be gone by the time I won't have a chance to meet with him. But someone's in occupancy here. And another thing is to note would be, when I had first come up here, I had noticed a little, the kestrel, right? So there's a kestrel over here too, flying around. And it's interesting because I've seen a kestrel elsewhere, very similarly, and he's very stationed, and they have purpose. They're like a watch sentry, and so the Kestrel watch sentry, I'll see him again, but see, he was like, I'd see him in a position a few times over. I've seen him here 3 times now. So to me, it's to see the Kestrel here 3 times in such short frequency is significant. And then with this character I had met, I had also encountered a Kestrel in the same spot on about 3 occasions, somewhere around there, but I was there for a longer time. So yeah, it could be just a Kestrel, and that's just this thing. But it's something that you can note, that such osprey or hawks or different kinds of large birds, they're very particular. I don't know how long the lifespans are, but you can see them all the time, and they'll recognize you. I'd sometimes, coming in to a little wooded area driving, they would spot me driving, and they would all call and fly. So I'll be on the road, and when I hit a point, he goes, "Papa!" and gets up and flies. And it happens like, maybe 50 times and 30 times, something like that. A large number of times where you see, hey, it's very pronounced in signature. There he is, and what's he in wait for? But it's, an interesting metaphoric realm in that sense, because you see so many different interactions with different I can get in on that a little bit. I can mention something of that. Yeah, so that's that. That character, he had some strange, the guy with the throwing knife, it was a little strange that I encountered him. And I had also found a box. I have a little video where there was a sigil symbol on it, and it's identical to one I'd see in Jersey. So it actually had the word Jersey on it. So I thought that was pretty strange. And here's an interesting little mark too. See this little piece here? It's on the ground. It was very prominently placed. And the thing that's odd about this prominent placing of this, you see this, what it is? It's a little piece of something I ripped off. And I had put it in a place quite far from here. And so that's saying it's on top of where I'm at. This is just, I just noticed, I just picked it up just now. I don't know if you saw it as I was walking. I just picked it up just now. So this is another mark that's saying, hey, we are on top of you. See, for it to be here, that means something grabbed it and brought it here. And I just had left it where I was. And for it to magically manifest here is very specifically signature. And here, this is another one. This little cart is like, hey, here's your helpful use. If you need a use of this sled, you can use it. That's what it's there for. It's for my use from this entity. And it was over there before, to the side more, in a prominent place. And I had moved it slightly. And here they moved it again, where it's up for grabs if you need it. But yeah.